Hello folks, and welcome to Linux for Seniors. In today's video I'm going to be talking about Manjaro and the file manager for Manjaro. This video is not going to be less than 2 minutes, just to forewarn you. Most of my videos are lengthy. I try to explain myself, not to be rushed by as I've seen a lot of YouTubers out there trying to squeeze stuff in 2 minutes. I think, to be fair, most subject matter when it comes down to a lot of things with Linux requires at least more than 2 minutes to explain things. In either case, folks, welcome. I will first give you system information, and I will use Neofetch for this. So this is Manjaro, and you can see what kernel number that is, and this is the latest Plasma desktop, so you can see that version right there. So let's talk about the file manager. So let's open up Dolphin, and I'll just go to the home screen, go click in here, click some help, and about Dolphin. So this is version 22.12.1. Now there's a lot of settings in here which I'm probably not going to discuss every single details in here, but I will discuss some of the things that I think most new users need to know about this file manager, because there's a lot of things you can do. First of all, you can resize these icons a couple of different ways. I'll show you one of my hidden tricks, and also I will point out the obvious. You have the obvious down below. You have a zoom feature to increase the size of the icons. You can also click this, and you can also do all kinds of things like configuration, show different panels and information on those panels depending on how you check things. You can also create a new window if you're transferring files back and forth. I'll show that in a minute. You can transfer it from folder to folder, or from your current hard drive into another device. As you noticed over here with devices, I have several hard drives. All right, with that said, the one option I wanted to point out is hidden files. I will talk about this mouse pointer that I'm currently using and how to put that in there. So anyways, hidden files, the shortcut would be to either click this hamburger menu, as some people call it, or hit Control H. You can see the shortcut here. So let's talk about my hidden trick about resizing these icons. So take your left hand in normal cases and hold down the Control key on your keyboard, and grab a hold of your computer mouse and the scroll wheel and scroll up and down. I can make these dinky, or I can make them very large. Your choice. If you don't remember this trick, obviously you can just do the drag bar thing. Okay, there's different ways to sort these things. You have different view modes. Okay, so you'll need to experiment on your own what is more comfortable for you. Now, a basic trick that a lot of people are wondering is, how do I get my own wallpaper instead of, let me minimize this for a second. So I'm going to right click and configure desktop and wallpaper. Now you do know that you have your own wallpaper folder that comes with the system. And a lot of people go, okay, that's sufficient for me. But let's say you want to do your own wallpaper, like this weird thing that I have here. I'm going to hit discard because I didn't really do anything. So how did I get this as a static wallpaper? And then later on down the road, I do encourage you that you subscribe. I will show you how to do an automated wallpaper changer. But more importantly, let's go and find out how we can set our own wallpaper. Maybe you have photos of your children. Maybe you have your own downloaded wallpaper. Maybe you create wallpapers, whatever your thing is. So I'm going to open up Dolphin again and go to my pictures folder, and I only have 2 folders in here. I have lots of hard drives though with some other photos in them, which I can borrow. I have a 2 terabyte drive sitting here, and a couple of 250s, and another 1 terabyte here, and I believe this is also a 1 terabyte drive. In either case, I can borrow photos from some of these other hard drives. But I'm going to borrow some from here. So I'm going to grab a hold of, I'm not sure what's in Wallpaper 2, but there's a Heinz variety of stuff. So let's take this first picture here, this one JPEG, and let's make that a wallpaper. Now again, I can resize these thumbnails by holding down the control key on my keyboard and using the computer mouse to scroll up and down, and then releasing the control key. I now have my regular scroll menu in the resized icon size. Let me bring that back up just as a refresher. So let's take this photo here. So let's open that by double clicking on it. It's just a butterfly. So I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to basically set it as wallpaper. You can see the option down there. Set as wallpaper, and it's that simple. And you're done. Now let's say you brought in some photos and you want to do a quick edit of anything. Let's take this dark photo here, for instance. I want to lighten this thing up. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. As with a lot of things in Manjaro and this file manager. First of all, you can just resize the window to whatever's comfortable for you. You can blow this up all the way if you like. So I'm going to exit the full screen where my mouse pointer is jumping around, and I'll show you how to actually put this mouse pointer in your system or where to look for it. So anyways, let's talk about editing this photo. So you will see adjust colors here. You can also do, if this thing has some red eye issues, then you can do that. But I'm going to do adjust colors, and it's fairly limited. But it is built into your file manager, which is nice, which is brightness, contrast, and gamma. So I'm going to make this oversaturated, as one would say, and undersaturated. Now, if you decide to just do this really quickly, you can also right-click on it. And you can do a lot of things besides setting this as wallpaper. But if you're wanting to just do a quick edit, double click, and again you can double click on this again and click the let me back this up, adjust colors, and then you can double click on that. Now you have a full size version of this thing. I apologize. Now you can drag the brightness in whatever direction you want, or the contrast or the gamma or whatever it might be that you're. This is like for just quickly doing adjustments. Okay, so I'm going to hit cancel. And I need to exit this thing. So if you're doing this in a reduced mode, obviously you would just do it here, and then your keys are right here. Okay, so you can also rotate this around. Okay, left or right, whatever your thing is. You can also crop this. Anyways, you can see all the image operations that you can do here. All right, so that's just a quick, I'm going to do a discard because I don't want anything edited. So as you probably have figured out, you can resize your windows at will. And now I'll show you how to basically transfer a file and also get a mouse pointer into your system at the same time. Now it would probably be a good idea to probably show you that you can go to a different place on the internet to basically, let me just use Google for a search, to look for different mouse cursors. So let's use Google, and now you should be able to go to gnome-look.org. I will try to remember to put a link to this on my YouTube site in the About section. I just started this new YouTube site. I had a previous one with over 450 videos, and I did have that link on that one. Anyways, just go to gnome-look.org. It's a nonprofit. And hit cursors, and you can see there's 789 of these things. If you want this one specifically, walk up to the search bar right here and type azenis. Now you have some choices. If you liked fixed cursors, then pick the 32 pixel size or the 48. That's the size of the mouse pointer. Now, why is that important when you start picking these things? Basically, it just depends on your screen resolution. I will tell you that this one here, if I recall right, I believe the file ends with 168. Now, let me take a look. No, 182, sorry. A little dyslexia there. This one is adjustable size. And I believe that's what I currently have in the system now. All you would do is download this tar.bz. This is a compressed file. Forget about this install stuff and whatever else. I would just suggest you download the whole file. So I'm going to actually do that. I'm just going to let it download. And you can see it's done. It's a 2 megabyte file. It's no big deal. All right, so hopefully we're clear on that. I will minimize that for now if you like. Now, that particular file is sitting right here, and I think most people know how to uncompress things. If not, here would be a good exercise for that. You could do this, double click on it and hit extract, or you can open up your archive manager and extract there. Okay. However, what I suggest doing in normal cases with any compressed files is to put them in a folder. Whether you do that inside of your download folder, like I have 3 folders, or make another folder somewhere inside of your home folder, or documents, or wherever you want to place this thing. All right, so what do I have in here? Well, I have some extra mouse pointers. Okay, and I believe this one actually is in there. So let me go back out one. So you could actually do this also, just drag and drop, and then copy here. Now, the file already exists, so basically I could rename this file to something different. So I'm going to call that 83, for instance. It's still going to be the same file, and hit yes. So okay, let's drag that over to here and drop it. Now I'm going to move here. And do I want to leave that? Sure, why not? So these are the ones with the folder symbols are the uncompressed ones. So I'm going to give you an example of this radioactive. I'm going to actually delete it. And then I'm going to double click on it. And you can hit extract. And I'm going to extract it to this location, the mouse pointer folder. Okay, so when it's done, what your target is going to be is you want all of these to be in a folder. That's very important. So if it has some other 2 files or whatever, that's not what you want. You want it inside of a folder with something similar like cursor and index theme, if you're going to do this. Now, what am I going to do with this folder? Well, I'm going to actually add it to the menu so I can select this for mouse pointers. I'm just giving you this as an example. So under appearance is normally where you select your cursors. They're here. You could install it from the file. A lot of times that works just fine. A lot of times it does not. You get errors. All right, at least that's how it used to be in the past. What I do is I just drop it into a folder where this actually belongs right away without having to use any of this stuff. How do I do that? I want you to notice that what I'm dealing with here is this radioactive mouse pointer. It's something I downloaded from that website that I showed you earlier. I'm going to drop it in this menu. How do I do that? I'm going to make a copy of this folder because I want to leave the original. And then I'm going to walk over to my home folder. As I pointed out when I first started Dolphin Up, I told you there's also hidden in there by clicking on Show Hidden or using Control H. So let me use Control H. So here's your hidden files that are in here. So your bash history, if you're curious about all the commands that are in your terminal box, are right here. You remember I performed a couple of commands in here. Actually, I didn't show the... let's just punch up history for a second. So I have some things that I've installed in here, or the system has. One of the things I've installed is Simple Screen Recorder, and the other one is Neofetch, which is not reflected here for some reason. But anyways, I don't know why that is not showing the bash history correctly. Oh, it's not bash. Sorry, I was using the wrong. Yeah, I should have known better. This is using ZSH. So I guess I need to go to the correct one. Here's Neofetch, the command I showed in the beginning. I apologize, folks. I thought I was using bash. So bash history is here and Z history is here. In either case, let's move on. So what I'm dealing with is I'm looking for a folder called .icons, this one right here. This is where you're going to place your mouse pointers. That's this one right here. So if you recall, I copied this. Let me do it again because I went off on a tangent. Right click, copy, home folder, .icons. Now I have another folder called icons. If you have another folder, regular folder called icons, don't mistake those two. This is a hidden folder. Starts with a period. Now I'm going to paste the folder in there. So radioactive should now be available for me to pick just by placing it in .icons. Let me show you what's in my icons folder. I have other kind of icons, really weird stuff sometimes, because I sometimes reassign icons in the menus. That's this folder. Let's move on. That's radioactive. That's the folder I just installed. Okay, let's take a look to see what that pointer looks like. Looks like that. And that also has, looks like it goes out fairly large. So let me hit apply. So that's probably an overkill. Now why is it doing this? Alright, so anytime you change mouse pointers, you may not know this, I would suggest that you log out of the system, if not reboot. Just because it holds the remnants of your old mouse pointer if you don't do this. If you do a full reboot, normally whatever you change the mouse pointer to, you're not going to get a remnants of the old one. Okay, so let me go back to this one and hit that. Now, this particular Azenis, as I pointed out in that website, they have different versions. This is what a 32 looks like in my current screen resolution mode. What am I running in? So, actually, let me go here. I could probably do this from here. So I'm running in 1920 by 1080. So anyways, when you are dealing with mouse pointers under appearance, and this may not be important to a lot of folks, that's fine, but take a look at your size. Now, a lot of times when you download mouse pointers and put them in here, whether you install it from files or get new cursors from their system or get your own and place them in there, a lot of your mouse cursors sometimes are not resizable. Okay, some are and some aren't. I don't know if all of these are resizable. Here's one it's not. This blanked out. Okay, and some of them may have limited sizes. Some of them may not go up to as high as 72, for instance. That one does. Okay, so the one I'm using is this one, and that goes well beyond that, to a fairly large size. I mean, this is overkill. So I'll probably leave it in that mode there, somewhere around 64 or whatever. Or even smaller than that. Let's do a 48. Okay, let's move on. Alright, that's how you place mouse cursors in there. Let's get back on topic and go back to the file manager. Now you know about hidden folders. You also know where the bash history is, or in this case the Z history, if you're using terminal. And there's your regular folders that are highlighted, and the ones that are subdued are the ones that start with a dot. So anything with a dot is hidden. That's the bash history is the born again shell history. basically the hidden one. And this is the z history, .z history. This is the commands that I performed here. Okay, so if I use the word, I want you to notice that it has 7 items in here. So I'm going to actually I'm going to add something to this. So I'm going to, I'm going to use the word cal. It's just a calendar. And might as well show that cute little thing. Here's what day, if you're from the US, what did 4th of July fall on? What day of the week in 1776? Yeah, you can look this up on the internet. Anyways, it was a Thursday. It's right here. So I'm going to close this for a second. So I'm going to close this and reopen this. There it is right there, those 2 commands that I just performed. Because that's in the Z history. So that keeps a tab of what you punched into that. So it's located here if you're curious. So now I'm going to hit Control H. Now we're back to normal mode. Again, holding down the Control key on my keyboard, using the computer mouse, scrolling up and down to make these larger or smaller. So changing wallpaper, as I pointed out, is pretty simple. You bring in your own photos and or wallpaper. This could be your kids, your pets, your wallpaper you brought in yourself or something you created. And once you find something, let's find something. So, I got some weird wallpapers in here too. How about that one? So, you know, you can get wallpapers from a lot of different sources. So, here you go. Here's something bizarre. Anyways, just an attention getter. Okay, so your home folder sits here. This is whatever is on your desktop, and if it is an icon, it'll be represented in here. So example would be if I were to place a file there. I don't know if I have anything in here. Let's grab a hold of something in downloads. All right, I'm going to use this folder and I'll drop it in here. So I'm going to copy it and not move it. So that gives me a choice. Okay, and now I'm going to go to desktop. See, it's sitting here. So you could do maintenance in here too if you're placing files and folders yourself. So if you're in your file manager, I can actually get rid of this right now by just hitting delete. It's now gone off my desktop. All right, so that's one simple thing. Trash cans right here, pretty simple. I think most people can figure it out. There's the empty trash right there. And then of course, as I pointed out, your download folder, your downloads go here, but you can actually create folders inside of here like I have. This is actually a game. Actually, both of these are games, and these are my mouse pointers. And the only reason I brought this here on this system was to give you the example of putting your own mouse pointer like this one manually in here. You can certainly follow the settings rule where you can go this way, and again, go to appearance under cursors and try to get your own themes. I'm just telling you, sometimes things don't work out right. Okay, there are mouse pointers in here too. I don't know if Azenis is in here. I've never tried it to look for it. I guess it is. There's the 32, there's the 48. And I'm not sure what this one is. But, you know, you can try installing that, but you saw that how you can do this manually in case you have issues with any of the mouse themes. You can place them in here yourself. And now you know where they're stored, more importantly. So I'm going to get rid of this radioactive. If you're curious, I can do this manually. So I'm going to go to the home folder, again, Control H, good exercise, to display the hidden, Control H again to turn it off. And I'm going to get rid of the actual radioactive folder itself. It's gone in my trash can. It should be still sitting there. I could do a restore in case I change my mind. But more importantly, my .icons folder is only got one folder now. So let me just minimize this. I'm just going to go to the settings briefly and go take a look at the appearance and icons. And radioactive should not be in the cursor section. It's gone. That's how quickly I got rid of that. So if you're experimenting with mouse pointers, that's how you can get rid of the ones that are not installed by the system. These are installed in a different location, and I'm really not going to cover that too deep in this video. I'm just covering this for the current user you're logged into. These are system-wide, is what they call, where the other mouse cursors are available for other users. But anyways, I will way down the pike if you're curious about wanting to install something like that for every single user on your system, because it is in a different location. It's really not that hard to figure out, but I had videos of this in the past. Anyways, so let's go back to the file manager. So you've seen the hidden files. You've seen how you can resize your folders. And I think most people can figure out you can also create more folders in here. So I'll create another one. I'll just call it test. Okay. So you have additional folders you can create yourself and place whatever contents you want in here, whether it's documents or photos or whatever else. And your shortcuts are here, and then down below, these are actually hard drives. So let me just give you a quick example. If you got a spare hard drive, I have backup 1 and 2 sitting here, and they could be a mix. These are NVMEs, and this is a spinning hard drive. So I have some ISOs. These are images of different computer desktops that I can install on a USB stick, for instance, or a DVD. So I could use my backup hard drives for all kinds of purposes. So when you install Manjaro, you should have the option of Timeshift also. It's a great system restore utility. However, normally most people don't realize that when they're using Timeshift, it does not copy your personal files. Under default conditions, it copies your system files. Let me open up Timeshift to prove that to you. And then I'll get to what I was getting to about internal hard drives for backups, or you can use USB sticks. So under the settings, when you first started up your Timeshift, if you are using it, the location is one item, but the users are usually excluded from your backups. That's what I'm getting at. My username is Tman. Okay, they're excluded by default. Oh, sure, you can include if you've changed your mind, but just be aware that wherever the location of your backup is, it will just be humongous. It'll just start being a humongous file. The Timeshift utility is really meant to back up your system for a system restore. Now, if you are going to do your own personal backups, I would probably, if you want to do it in a manner that I would suggest, taking the backup and putting it on a different hard drive or USB stick, so it's not on the same source in case you lose the drive, if the files are important to you. Your documents possibly, or your pictures. Drop them into an internal device if you have the luxury of a console, and plug in an extra hard drive. If not, use a USB stick or a portable hard drive. But more importantly, copy your personal files into those things. That's what I have going on here with these two backups. Okay, I'm just giving you quick examples of these two. Okay, I have another third one in here with lots of data. Okay, that's another NVMe drive. But more importantly, get your documents, your pictures, or whatever's important to you. I have also some music files. And put them in a proper place, because your Timeshift utility is normally not making copies of these things. So if it's important to you, put them on a separate hard drive, separate USB stick, whatever you can afford. Okay, it's just good advice. If you don't have the luxury of an internal hard drive, then make an external one. through a USB port. And they got plenty of USB sticks out there that are plenty large. I'm looking at one right in my little tray here that's 256 gigabytes as an example. And these things are getting dirt cheap nowadays. Well, considering. All right. So recent files, recent locations. There's lots of little options in this file manager. Lots of little options. You also have split panes. What are these good for? Well, if I was moving something from downloads into documents, for instance. Okay, this is my document folder. Now I'm going to click over here and go to downloads. Now this is downloads, this is documents. I'm going to take this file that I downloaded earlier and transfer that from downloads to documents. I have a choice. Do I want to copy it there or move it there? I'm going to move it there. All I did was take the file from one place to another. Could you drag and drop with two windows? Absolutely. Let me show you that example. So I'm going to close the double pane, resize this window just because of the screen size. And then I'm going to create a new window. That creates another box. I'm going to put these side by side. So I'm going to take this one and click on Documents. I'm going to click this one and leave it on Downloads. I'm going to drag this file back into Downloads. I'm going to move it here, not copy it. You have a choice. You can also use your keyboard. You get the idea? So if you're downloading some stuff and they're valid downloads, and be careful of the stuff you download off the internet too, by the way. But anyways, you downloaded something and you need to transfer that file. I don't care if it's an image or a wallpaper or compressed file or whatever it might be, from one folder to another. It doesn't have to be downloads. You can, I'll do a music folder on this one and drag something into documents, or should I say copy. Let's take this first folder here. This is music files, by the way. So let me back that up. Right click, copy. Could I also use Control C? Yes, you can. These are keyboard equivalent. So I'm going to use copy. Then I'm going to leave this in documents. This is now music. You can see the actual letters and hit paste. So it didn't move this from music to documents. I made a copy of it. So now I have a copy here and a copy there. Okay. Yes, I'm adding to the footprint of my hard drive, but I still have a lot of space left on this drive. So 376 gigabytes. And I didn't point that out earlier, but down here below, and it's on both screens, you can actually see how much free space you have left on your drive, your current drive. I'm not talking other devices. Linux treats everything as a device. Let me plug in a USB stick, at least try to find one. I'm not sure what's on this thing. I'll let it load. All right, I have one here with, it looks like it's a USB stick that's partitioned with two partitions on them, but it says removable drives. You can see the symbol on them. Okay, so could I actually copy files into this backup drive using this method? Absolutely. So I'm going to leave backup 5 removable drive plugged in, and let me see how much room no, actually I got 26 gigs free. So let me go back in here to documents, and I'm going to grab a hold of this folder, and this is my backup 5. I'm going to drag this into here. But this time I'm going to actually move it, not copy it, because I already have a copy of this in my music folder. So I'm cutting it out of here and transferring it onto my USB stick. It's sitting right here now. So now I'm going to eject both of them. Okay, so I still have my original music folder, and anyways, let me plug that drive back in just to let you see the file is still there. I'll wait till it loads. Do you need to have two screens for this? No, I'm just going to close that one. Backup 5 now contains that folder I just copied from this hard drive here into that USB stick. This could have been my documents that I was backing up to this backup 5 or 4. Remember this is one USB stick with two partitions on them. Yes, I will probably end up doing a video down the road to show that kind of stuff. But just think of this as a single USB stick that you're transferring your documents, your music, and or pictures into that for backup purposes. And you know what? If the documents are important enough to you, always place them on a external storage device. Whether you have cloud service somewhere, transfer those files there. If not, I would put them either on a USB stick, a portable hard drive, and if they're going to be in your house, put them in a fire safe if the files are important enough to you. Okay, just some advice. And by the way, that's a legitimate Linux file without an extension. It's a text file. Yes, you can make document files without an extension on them. However, since I brought this up, if you were transferring this file to a friend that has a Microsoft machine, or maybe you're dual booting your Manjaro with Microsoft, and if you want to view this file on the Microsoft system, I would rename it with the extension of .txt. So you can rename this file with I'm going to leave the A, .txt. To Linux, it doesn't care. It knows that's a text file. But your Microsoft system does not like any files without extensions. So now this would be recognized rather easily on a Microsoft machine, whether you did it on the portable device or if you have another internal Windows hard drive. Does that make sense? Okay. So anyways, now you know how to rename files also. And I think at this point I probably have overwhelmed some folks. But at least I give you a good taste of the wonderful things you can do with your file manager, Dolphin. And on that note, hopefully you have subscribed. Stay tuned for some additional videos down the pike. Thank you so much for watching. So welcome to Linux for Seniors.